This is Prophet Hanna. She's from Central Asia as a heritage. She is shamanic Turkic people in Anatolia. Every Turkish person knows that. This is our Inuit. This is north of Vancouver. It's right next to Russia and China. It's a walk across, historically, through that landmass bridge. This is East India. She's saying she's Sri Lanka, but I think she's East Indian. They got carried away, but they're 16 hours by flight. Now, this is where it gets complicated. This guy, and this one all share a language of animal, but we don't share cultural. We don't, because these guys are about 100,000 years, 50,000 years of settlement on a particular topography. It's a territory of an animal. When you look at this song here, Nathan Evans, it's a good example of what our First Nations looks like. He might not be First Nations, but he looks identical. She is Métis, but from the other side, where she has the white man in her. And the hair is blonde and long and curly, waves, because of the proximity to Africa. First Nations, her and him and her all share a common language of animal, but we don't share cultural. So when these guys bum rushed Hanna and they took 5 books out of legal deposit, what is cool in their country was not cool in Canada, and it's part of war history. But we all share the language of animal. Like, you have to understand what's going on. We just don't have that cultural commonality. They think they do. They don't. Things in their country that is okay that they tried to bring to Canada was the biggest disaster on the history of human, because there are thousands of years of infestated communities inside India. How they exist there didn't match the broad open lands of woodland Canada. They got so impacted by the Prophet Hanna stories, they even called this chick divine, and they're building the whatever. The problem is they utilized all Hanna's work, or they're going to bring it out in the future. They got billed for even the future. To date, on 35,000 pages, Hanna's made $2. And it's been a disaster because, again, it goes back to culture. It doesn't match. What's okay there is not okay in the land of First Nations or woodland. Our Inuit look like this. They brought in Canada this dark girl to be like a Caravana queen to First Nations. It looked retarded. Because when you think of our First Nations, it is exactly like this guy. Our topography is very, very cold, so we get white. These guys are in ice all day. They have a burnt skin, but it's still yellow man. So it's just to understand the differences. Am I Métis? Yes, I am, but from the other side, if that kind of makes sense. But because I'm raised in Canada, and because I did environmental work, and because I did the discovery of Kanata means wings, I'm listed as the top First Nations, because it's me trying to protect our cultural heritage, which is right across from the Yakut Strait. That's the issue. Now, what's interesting about the story, this is Asian. She marries African. The African is shaman, she is shaman. They produced Hindi babies or vice versa. Hindi babies, that is the natural flavor of DNA migration sample. It's one of the most insane true stories and fucked up the planet, but it's based off a true story. She is Prophet Hanna. If you want to call the girl who took 5 of the books of Hanna as divine, good for you. but you have a legal responsibility to pay the authentic. The authentic has never left the address of 118 Sherwood. So why they're not paying, we don't know. So under the pretense, they try to make our honorary zone into a medical zone. And every step they took, it's not them, they're getting dictated by Europe. Every step they took, they made a bigger and bigger disaster. So we're trying to interject, and we created the lien for the town of Markham. We don't care what goes on outside the world. But if there's one woman that fucked up the entire planet without intentional malice, it's the true story of Hanna. Because it breaks down that borders. It's a true story. So let's go over it again. African marries shamanic Turkic people of Central Asia, produces a Hindi baby. Or vice versa. You gotta watch the movie. We're trying to do the movie. The biggest thing Hanna did was create entertainment. If First Nations, a lot of them died because they wanted to keep that positioning of media, then they're the indigenous that are on our lands. That's when Aztec leaves and Inca comes in. That memorial will be very large, but in the zone of Hannan, which is Markham, to mark them to Hannan, we don't allow it. And not one Chinese allows it either, because it's our First Nation right. And that includes them from a linguistic perspective, but not a cultural perspective. Try to understand how problematic this true story is. Another entry.